They called it the war on drugs.
America's public enemy number one in the United States is drug abuse. It is necessary to wage a new all-out offensive.
With cannabis classified among some of the most dangerous drugs in the world, a plant that had been used for centuries for medicinal purposes and considered beneficial to many. Even the National Commission on Marijuana and Drug Abuse that Nixon appointed to study the drug issue recommended that cannabis be decriminalized. The report's findings were ignored. Getting tough on crime won votes, so more administrations doubled down on the prohibition of cannabis with mandatory prison sentences.
We must move to strengthen law enforcement activities. These proposals will toughen our laws against drug criminals.
3 strikes and you are out.
Thousands were locked up, sometimes for life, an era of mass incarceration, unprecedented in history, and a disproportionate number were Black and brown people of African and Latinx heritage.
When I was growing up in Roxbury, the failed war on drugs was happening. Looking at the people who were incarcerated, mostly Black and brown folks, mostly poor folks. See, what you have is this hugely disparate treatment of those who can afford it less and, frankly, who are getting screwed over by the system.
Here in Massachusetts, people of color represent 3/4 of those convicted of mandatory minimum drug offenses, yet they make up less than 1/4 of the population.
I have family members who use cannabis for medical purposes, but I also have family members who sold drugs. It helped them bring income into their homes to support their children and their family.
As with any war, the collateral damage has been painful. Fatherless homes, doors to opportunity for education and employment slammed shut, seemingly inescapable cycles of misery and dependency.
Going to college, there was very few people of color on campus, mostly athletes. So I hung out with a lot of those kids. And essentially one night, came back to campus and apparently smelled like weed. I basically got kicked out of school just for that.
Clearly, a new and better approach is needed, a way to address systemic racism, a path forward to improve not just the lives of affected individuals, but bring economic vibrancy to whole communities. Legalizing marijuana was a good start, but just the beginning of a journey towards greater justice and prosperity.
I was incarcerated for selling marijuana, but when I came home, there was a cannabis company right across the street from where I live. I had my freedom taken away for selling the same product that this company is now selling.
Lawmakers took the next step when they listened to voters and enacted something totally new.
That's when stories started to unfold about programs that would introduce opportunities for people who have been harmed by prohibition.
For the first time on a statewide basis, those disproportionately affected by prohibition were required by law to have truly equitable access to the legal marijuana marketplace. The law was the genesis for the Massachusetts Cannabis Control Commission, the agency charged with shaping solutions to fulfill that promise. The commission implemented policies and procedures that are helping lower barriers to entry, ease the transition from the legacy marketplace, and harness private sector innovation to speed change.
There were regulations set forth that if you had drug offenses, you were unable to be a part of the cannabis industry. The Cannabis Control Commission redid some of those regulations, and so that opened up some of the barriers.
While progress has been made, some obstacles still loom large for many.
I was originally aspiring to be a dispensary, but I lost to 2 large operators in the town selection process. It's so hard to find a location because there's like so many requirements at the town level.
The Federal Reserve Bank in Boston in 2015 did a report called The Color of Wealth. The median net worth of a white family in Boston is $247,500. The median net worth of a Black family in Boston is $8. To open a store, you need $1.5 million. That's a whole lot of $8 together, right?
Someone hears your cannabis business and they inflate their rates, right? I'm a small business. I'm not a multi-state operator. I don't have money.
These are what the cannabis reform legislation of 2022 aimed to address. An act relative to equity in the cannabis industry ushers in a state-run equity loan fund, requires buy-in from cities and towns, and puts forth additional fixes designed to end the remaining stigma against entrepreneurs, people seeking stable careers after incarceration, and their collective dreams. It even enshrined the Commission's very own social equity program into the law. These changes mark a turning point for equity applicants in the Commonwealth.
It's about social justice. We want to have a seat at the table. We're here. Let's make sure that these communities who were disproportionately impacted have an opportunity for the economic wealth that they deserve.
As these mechanisms evolve, entrepreneurs and job seekers can find success by applying their existing skills and gaining new ones, supported by mentors, trained by experts, with newfound access to capital.
I'm excited to be part of the state's first steps towards equity here in Massachusetts. And although there is still lots of work to be done, I am hopeful for the future that we will build here together.
Headed into another training class, the Social Equity Program offers a pathway into the legal industry for legacy market operators and other communities that were harmed by the war on drugs. Through education, technical assistance, and networking, participants gain tools that can help them own, manage, work for, or contract with licensed cannabis businesses in Massachusetts.
There need to be programmatic offerings that allow those individuals who grew up in these neighborhoods who are also disproportionately affected to have an opportunity to be in this industry and occupy our space and place while it's new. We have to hold the door open. We must repair the harm that has occurred in this space.
I got arrested, that qualified me for the social equity program, which really changed my life. So I had all that experience in the legacy market, and I was very familiar with, how to sell cannabis and how to take care of my customers and the knowledge behind what I was doing. But I had zero experience in regulations, compliance, and following the rules. That program really helped me because it was like those were the missing pieces that I needed. All the roadblocks or mistakes that I've made, they've turned into something that I'm really proud of now.
It is frankly ludicrous for people in pinstripe suits to pretend that they're the experts on selling cannabis when they only got in post legalization. There are people who have done this and risked their whole lives. How do we lean on the skills of those individuals who were in the legacy market?
The transferable skills from the legacy market into the legalized market is having to navigate all of the different hoops. With the social equity program, I was part of the entrepreneur track. Best part about it was really being a part of a cohort, learning with other people and understanding that there were other people going through similar experiences.
When I went through it and I did the ancillary track, it was amazing to see how many people were involved in this big movement to open legitimate businesses to serve their communities. I'm not necessarily running a cannabis establishment, but I do provide those services to cannabis businesses who are looking for job seekers for their establishments or looking for HR consulting services. It's an additional add-on piece for those cannabis businesses.
I'm hopeful that with the new set of commissions and the new rules put in place, there will actually be funding and the education available so that everyone who looks like me and who wants to be a part of this industry can do it.
People should know that the Cannabis Control Commission's social equity program is life-changing, and they really do give you the tools that you need to open and run a compliant cannabis business.
One of the hopes for the future is local communities understanding their influence and understanding the importance of taking control of the industry. Success is being able to visualize it and then materialize it, change society basically for the better.
We have a company that's 100% Black owned right now, right in Faneuil Hall. Peter Faneuil sold people who look like me to buy that land and build those buildings. Our slogan is "We all rise together."
Massachusetts has come so far since voters legalized adult use cannabis, but the real work has just begun to fulfill their vision of an equitable marketplace. Support from cities and towns, existing operators, a new state-run loan fund, and consumers who care will make all the difference to what the Commonwealth can achieve. Communities harmed by the war on drugs deserve to have a meaningful stake in the legal industry's success. It's up to all of us to make sure they do. To learn more, visit masscannabiscontrol.com/equity. This video is not an endorsement of any cannabis business, product, or registered agent.